Today I'm going to talk about Skydawn Games' Phantasy Star TTRPG. I discovered this game in November of 2024. We don't have a lot of information to go off yet, but I wanted to share what I've found so far. The game's currently available for pre-order for $69.99. That gets you a physical copy of the book, a PDF copy of the core rules as well, and a pre-made adventure. The game system is based off of the Esper Genesis rule set. Esper Genesis is a sci-fi game with some fantasy aspects to it that uses the 5th edition D&D rules. I'm really excited about this. I think Phantasy Star is a great setting for Dungeons & Dragons. At its core, it was a game that was about 4 adventuring party members who do a lot of dungeon exploring, and that really does seem to fit the mechanics and setting and rule set that 5th edition D&D brings to us. I did look into Esper Genesis, trying to find anything I could about it. The book itself is available for about $25 for a PDF, or around $55 for a hard copy version of it. Since my main interest was understanding how this new Phantasy Star tabletop RPG is going to work, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on another game just to find out what another game I'm buying is going to potentially look like. But this is what I found out about Esper Genesis. It essentially uses D&D rules to bring technology and space travel and a unique setting to 5th edition rules. The game has mostly positive reviews from what I've been able to find. A lot of people like that it uses plug-and-play 5th edition rules, and if you can play 5e D&D, you can figure out Esper Genesis. The art is supposed to be exceptional. Some people describe it as the Starfinder of 5th edition D&D, Starfinder being another sci-fi fantasy game using the Pathfinder rules, and some people have compared it to Mass Effect. The Phantasy Star tabletop role-playing game should have everything you need in one book. In 5th edition D&D, there's 3 different core books. You have the Player Handbook, which has all the information a player needs to create a character, as well as the basic rules. You have a monster manual that contains the creatures and adversaries that a player party might fight, and you have a Dungeon Master Guide which contains advice and tables and extended rules that the DM or the storyteller can use. It appears we're getting one core book for Phantasy Star Tabletop RPG that should have all of that information in it. The game advertises having player options, lore and setting information, as well as adversary stats in it. So hopefully the $70 that we're paying here for a pre-order is going to get us the one book that we need to completely play the game. In addition to monster stats, it sounds like we'll be getting stats for main characters from the Phantasy Star video games, as the advertisements tell us we can create unique characters or play as existing characters from the game story. The core book is going to cover all of the games, so the original stories from the Sega 8-bit through 16-bit era, as well as the Phantasy Star online games, which were Dreamcast and beyond. It'll be interesting to see how they manage this and what their suggestions are for running the game. Depending on the time and era of the story, the original Phantasy Star was mostly a fantasy game with sci-fi elements sort of added on top of it. Phantasy Star 2 was very much a sci-fi game with some fantasy elements within it, and so depending on the time and era and the location, your game could look pretty different, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a default setting or a suggested time and place where this game is run, or they just say, pick anything you want and have fun. We've given a list of a couple of new character options, broken into species, professions, and origins. The species will include humans, Newmen, which are synthetic humans that have been created in a lab, androids, which would be like robots and cyborgs, Motavians, which are a rodent-like person from the planet of Motavia, originally a sand, desert-like planet, and then eventually terraformed into a lush green planet, Dizolians, who are from an ice planet called Dizorus, and Beastkin, who appear to be based off of the beasts from Phantasy Star Online, and are a sort of combination of human biomonsters. No word on the Muscat yet. I'm really hoping they include these. Seems like it'd be a shame if they didn't. Professions appear to have replaced classes and include Guardian, Thief, Hunter, Esper, Agent, Scientist, and Warrior. Not sure if we'll get more of these or not, and I expect some of them, like Thief and Hunter, will be pretty similar to D&D's classes, the Rogue and the Ranger. One of the complaints of Esper Genesis being that not all the classes are very different from the existing ones in 5th edition D&D. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the same is true about the Phantasy Star RPG classes. Origins will likely replace the background mechanic. We're only given 3 examples here: utopian cities, frozen wastelands, and remote space colonies, but essentially where your character is from before the first session starts. If you do pre-order, you will also get a PDF copy of the starter adventure, The Search for Levino. Levino refers to really 2 different things. It could be referring to the scientist who builds your spaceship in the original game. Finding Levino is a quest where you have to find him and then his assistant, his droid Hapsby, and then he'll build you a spaceship to take you to the other planets. Levino also refers to the spaceship that he builds, so it's possible that rather than searching for the Doctor or his ancestors or descendants, this search for Levino refers to finding the ship from the original game. Since the game is advertised as allowing you to play as existing characters, it is possible that the search for Levino is really just the original quest from the video game ported into a pen and paper RPG and retelling that story. We'll have to wait and see. I was able to find this information from Skydawn Games' website for Phantasy Star itself, for their Esper Genesis page, and then their mailing list as well. Their mailing list recently sent out a promise of an FAQ, as well as a questionnaire to ask people what sort of questions they have about this new game. So I recommend you sign up for that. It's a great way to get up-to-date information on the game, as well as provide feedback to the designers who might be able to use that information to make the game even better. That's all the information I have for now, but as soon as I get more, I'll be updating this channel. Hopefully you're as excited about this as I am. I've been waiting many years for a Phantasy Star pen and paper RPG, and I'm looking forward to what it can offer as its own setting, as well as something that you can borrow from for homebrew, custom world building. That's it. That's the show. Y'all can go home now.